Hoy tenemos el honor de presentar a una figura excepcional en el mundo del periodismo y el entretenimiento. Con 3 premios Emmy nacionales en su haber, Gaby Natale se destaca como periodista, empresaria, autora bestseller y conferencista radicada en los Estados Unidos. Gaby no solo es la presentadora y productora ejecutiva de su propio programa televisivo Super Latina, que llega a todos los rincones de Estados Unidos y Puerto Rico, sino que también es una pionera en la industria. En 2017 se convirtió en la primera presentadora de televisión en español en ganar el premio a Mejor Conducción por segundo año consecutivo. En 2016, su show Super Latina obtuvo 2 premios Emmy, marcando un hito en la historia de la Academia de Artes y Ciencias Televisivas en los Estados Unidos. Gaby no solo controla los derechos de su programa de televisión, sino que también es dueña de su propio estudio de televisión, fusionando su pasión por la comunicación con su espíritu empresarial. En línea, Gaby ha construido una sólida comunidad de seguidores con millones de reproducciones en YouTube y una creciente presencia en redes sociales. Además, como cofundadora y presidenta de A Ganar Media, una empresa de mercadeo enfocada en el público hispano de los Estados Unidos, Gaby ha servido a prestigiosas compañías, incluyendo a Hilton Worldwide, AT&T, eBay, Amazon y Sprint. No contenta con eso, en 2017 Gaby lanzó su exitoso libro El Círculo Virtuoso, en colaboración con HarperCollins, convirtiéndose en un bestseller instantáneo. La revista People en español la ha honrado como una de las 25 poderosas, destacando su influencia y contribución a la comunidad latina. Licenciada en Relaciones Internacionales y con una maestría en Periodismo de la Universidad de San Andrés en Buenos Aires, Argentina, Gaby Natale es un ejemplo de perseverancia, pasión y éxito. Así que prepárate para una conversación inspiradora y enriquecedora, porque en este episodio de Mente, Gaby Natale nos compartirá su sabiduría y experiencia única. Comencemos.
Gaby Natale, thank you so much. It's truly a pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you today.
Mucho gusto. I'm happy to be here.
Excelente. So, listen, to get started, one of the things that really caught my eye as I was learning more about you and your journey is that you say, in short, most people, if not everybody, can be successful or can be extraordinary. You don't need, you're not born extraordinary, which was a discovery you had as you interviewed a lot of people. So I want you to dive deeper into that for the people that are watching today.
Yeah, so basically, for my job as a journalist, I had to interview what we call superachievers, pioneers, people who reached the top of their industry for decades. And when I started doing that job, I honestly believe that these kind of people, they belonged to a different league from the rest of us. And some of them have a talent that is extraordinary. Not everybody can be Messi. Not everybody can be, the best opera singer. But here's the thing. In the overwhelming amount of cases, what I found is that these people started, creating their journey, and as they were working, as they were getting better, they even surprised themselves with how far they went. And so that's when I had this moment of realizing, yes, pioneers most of the times are not extraordinary people, or superachievers most of the times are not extraordinary people. They are ordinary people who chose at some point in their journey to see themselves and the world in an extraordinary way, whether that is showcasing more what they did, learning how to perfect their craft, or a combination of all these things, or maybe looking less for other people's approval and following their heart. So there's a moment where they have to make a decision many times, and when they have that epiphany in a way, combined with many other factors, then you can see that for most of the cases, most of them are not Leo Messi, most of them are not Maria Callas, Most of them are people like you and me who made the decision.
So there's talent, but there's also the ability to learn skills.
Absolutely.
And this is where, so what would you say because I want to keep talking about that journey you had, those epiphanies that you had along the way, which were, and maybe you've discovered, what were the motives or the engines that drove them to discover those things? Is it clarity in what they wanted to do, or maybe sparked a passion for something? I don't know if you identified one.
Sometimes it's discomfort. Sometimes you don't know what you're looking for, but you just know this is not the place for me. This is not the journey for me. And that discomfort creates an inner conflict. And how you solve that inner conflict can propel you, or maybe can make you feel mad with yourself for a long time once you cannot. Let me give you an example. I interviewed Deepak Chopra. It's one of my favorite guests. Okay. And so I do massive research when I interview one of my guests. And what I found out is that there's a moment in his life when Deepak, is an immigrant from India with a passion for Eastern practices, and he's a doctor. So he wants to convince conventional doctors here in the US about the benefits of yoga and meditation. Mm-hmm. And the more he insisted, the more resistance he got. Mm-hmm. So there's a moment where he has to make a decision. Am I going to do what everyone else is doing? Or am I going to trust and embrace my uniqueness? Like, he's from India, he grew up with all of this, he knows there's value in what he's doing. But even if some other people around him at the time could not see the value, he has to make a decision. Which view is the most important? Which look is the most important? Their look on me, or how I choose to see myself? And in that case, that was the moment when he wrote his first book, combining both things.
What a powerful thing, because it's embracing your uniqueness. Nowadays with social media, everybody wants to appear like somebody else, right? It's like I need to look like or act like to be sort of accepted, modeling. And then you're talking about this experience with the doctor, how he embraced uniqueness, and in some way, that's what I see in you.
It's an inner journey, but that's what I believe. And when I go to those stages, and I'm 99.9% of the times the only Latina, not to mention immigrant or Latino, and I speak as a professional speaker in very high caliber events and stages, and I have a big accent, and I don't see anyone like me or somebody who sounds like me or with the same story. I had to do that same journey of thinking like, okay, can I bring value? Yes. Can I, is what I'm doing something of worth? Yes. I may still come across people that to this day, they don't know it, mistakenly assume that I am uneducated only because English happens to be my second language and I have an accent, but I know better. And I'm not going to let that stop me. And I'm not going to let that. That's why I talk so much about pioneers breaking barriers, because too many times we feel like, okay, I'm the first one or I'm the only one in that space. And that can feel sometimes lonely, but also disempowering, the first and the only. That's why I like to change the narrative and think about ourselves like pioneers. Because when you're pioneers breaking barriers, you're not alone. You're taking your whole community with you. You're taking a lot of people with you. And it's not just about yourself. It's about breaking a barrier that hopefully is going to open doors for many others to cross.
And I highlight, I think this is the perfect moment right now, mm-hmm. where there's so much information. And it's like, what do I do? Copy. Be unique. Embrace your uniqueness.
Exactly. Embrace your uniqueness in a sea of sameness.
Yeah.
And also because it's so hard to get people's attention. So why are you going to try to imitate somebody else when it's either hard for that other person to grab people's attention? Be your own version. And at the same time, I feel we are in a very special point because we are in a world that is interconnected as never before, that is changing as fast as never before, and that the gatekeepers that used to decide this person is worth it, this person is not worth it, whether it is the music industry or many other industries, those gatekeepers are less and less powerful because social media came here to disrupt that.
Correct.
And so many people can really create their own opportunities out of being smart. I mean, working, having excellence, being consistent, but also being smart on how they are showcasing what they do.
All right. Well, let's elaborate on that because, see, people saw your list of achievements. It's very impressive. And you didn't just get there by luck, at least, because there's certain values, the only thing I
think is luck, and I want to be honest with you, is health.
Health.
Because we don't get to choose if we wake up with pain in our body or not, or if,
Sure.
that's the thing that I think, there are many things and variables But
So
that's
that was a
one that's
blessing.
beyond. Yes,
That's
it's a
the blessing.
Yes.
Being able to wake up and it's worth all the money in the world, or that, I can't put a price on it.
No.
You know, is what I wanted to say. But still, those common denominators and high achievers, and you, as people saw in the intro, all the things you've done, from the Emmy winning, 3 times Emmy winner, first Latina to publish a book by one of the biggest publisher houses in the world. What are those values that you abide by daily that have contributed to where you are today?
One of the things is believing your vision even before you have the results to validate it. And why do I say that? Because when you're breaking barriers and when you're finding yourself that your individuality is met by a sea of sameness, if you wait for the validation of your vision, it's too late, because you have to give it a try even if you don't see people like you there. So, and at the same time, there's something else that for me is important, and I want to stress it. People see like the highlight reel of all these achievements, but I also want to tell them that before I won my first Emmy, I lost 7 times. 7 times I was nominated and I didn't get it. And that didn't stop me or frustrate me to keep working. First, because I love what I do. I don't think, you know, from all the people that I've interviewed and that I've known, nobody gets to a certain level in their industry or career by doing something they absolutely hate. It's not just discipline, you need to have enthusiasm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to have an enthusiasm combined with discipline. I think it's a winning formula. Discipline only is going to make you miserable. At some point you're going to burn out. At some point you're going to feel like it's not worth it. But when you combine both, and you rest also, because it's important to rest, you know, and you combine both, you can go much further.
So enthusiasm for you is like it's muscle that you can just produce, because I agree, it's one of the most contagious things a human being can express.
Do you know what it means? Enthusiasm comes...
I know there's an acronym, and it's like, but I think I've heard it, but this is a great opportunity to remind.
It's really interesting. It comes from entheos, which means having a God inside.
Exactly.
So it's like a divine spark that you can feel when you're doing something that you really like or enjoy. And I feel like, yes, it's poetic, and yes, there might be some
So you
truth
discovered
here.
that, even, you know, in your journey, you said, I can be enthusiastic about it.
I use it as a compass. So
Okay.
I use it as a compass. So I try to be self-aware of, like, how am I feeling in this? And that, for example, when I was working in local news, at some point I lost my enthusiasm because I felt like my uniqueness and being a multidimensional woman could not be portrayed. You could even be like the sexy one or the formal one, you know. And those two stereotypes, like, I don't belong in any of those ones. So so that discomfort for me was the wake-up call to create something new, a new chapter of my life. And that's what I credit with everything that happened next. Starting creating something, a journey from a place of truth, not from a place of having to mold myself to fit stereotypes or these other industry's expectations.
That's very interesting. Now, I want to go back again and rescue something that I thought it was very interesting, which is like, if I understood correctly, is act as if, not like fake it till you make it, but act as if, as you say, see the vision first, believe in, and have the patience for the compounding to take effect, and then those actions will bring about the results.
Yes.
Right. So, how do I act as if, like, if I'm not there? Because I think a lot of people wait. And they'll say, yeah, if I work or if I do certain things, it's going to happen, but still fail to truly act as if.
Yes.
It might.
Well, first of I have a book to recommend to everyone who's struggling with that. Is You'll See It When You Believe It by Dr. Wayne Dyer. The whole book is about that.
Okay.
And it's a book that I love. But I think in a nutshell, what we're discussing is sometimes people are waiting to have certainty to take action. And you know what? Take action and build that journey. You know, sometimes you're ready, sometimes you're almost ready. But I think there's a lot of value in taking action, because I heard so many people, they invented the iPhone in their minds, like, I invented the iPhone in my mind.
Yeah, right? I had that idea.
Execution is everything.
Yeah. I had an epiphany going through some of the content that you share with us on social, and one was there's like, you believe that there is an abundance of talent, but there is a lot of scarcity. Not a scarcity, inaction. Mm-hmm. Right? If so.
What's not about? I mean, talent is abundant.
Yeah,
People
the talent,
sometimes think that talent is not abundant. Talent is super abundant. What's not abundant is the determination to take that talent to fruition.
The determination to take the talent to fruition. Okay, and so to kind of be wrapping up, there's so much we could talk about. It's very interesting.
It went really fast.
I know. Well, if you have all day, we can stay here all day.
No problem.
Thank you for that. I know you have a true passion for women, empowering women primarily. You speak to the whole world, but there's something about women in your heart. When did that epiphany or that passion came to life, and you said, I'm going to focus on empowering women?
Well, I think, it's in my heart. I don't do it only for women, but we do have a very special connection with women.
Sure.
And I come from a family of strong women. My grandmother was director in a school. She had 5 kids. She had a tough life. My mother is a lawyer, and she comes from that background as well. But then, once I started doing this journey, I felt that women were overqualified for the jobs. They were the ones who waited for her to have every single item in the application to apply for a job. And then at the same time, they are the ones in meetings where they are cut off. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's a special mission there. We get paid less. This is not opinions, these are just facts. So I feel also that in the case of women, we are equally praised and penalized when we are successful. So there's always this narrative that if you're ambitious or you want to make money, somehow your values are off, which is something that never happens to men. You just get the praise, but there's never the penalty.
Okay.
And at the same time, there's this narrative that you somehow have to choose between one role, maybe a role of romantic role even, you can even date or have a husband or have the career of your dreams, and that is a dichotomy that men usually don't face. And I want to break those dichotomies and those preconceptions, because we should not really limit ourselves. We have to follow our desire, whatever it is, because also society is never gonna be happy. If you are dating, when are you getting engaged? If you're engaged, when are you getting married? If you're getting married, when are you having kids? And then the second kid. And then is your kid a valedictorian? And what about the sister? So it's never ending.
Very interesting. So to finalize, I would like for you to take this opportunity for all the people, all the women, all the entrepreneurs, all the dreamers. Maybe summarize if you can, or maybe even before we go there, because I wanted to also touch on something that you might have never shared before, and I want to see if I can extract it, because I have found that there's a common denominator in successful people, which is that fire in the belly that help them get up every day and go fight the good fight, whatever cost that they're fighting for. What was that moment in your life that you can remember that was that spark that made you into the warrior you are today?
I know exactly the moment, because I was not really very determined, and as a student, in elementary and high school, had good grades but nothing great, and then I went to a very demanding university in Buenos Aires, and I was struggling, and this was when I was studying international relations, which is my first degree, and I went in an exchange program to London, and London is so expensive, incredibly expensive, and I was a student, so I didn't have a lot of disposable income, juggling different jobs, And one day I realized that the little disposable income that I had, I was spending it in the London Film Festival. I was watching documentaries. And I said, Gaby, are you crazy? You're not buying shoes, you're not buying, you don't have money. And like this little money, you're buying the tickets for the London Film Festival. And that was the moment when I realized, like, this is not normal for you, this has to mean something. And then I came back, finished international relations, studied production, TV production, and then got a master's degree in journalism. And that's when I found what I believe is my tribe. You know, these people who are very curious, who want to interview other people, who want to learn more, you know, and at the same time, they are very determined. And so that was the moment when, and I agree with you, there's some patterns sometimes when you interview people that you realize, I call that the virtuous circle, you know, that's like the archetypes and everything, but you can call it whatever you want, but there is something that is like an invisible thread that unites all of these people who somehow find what makes them come alive.
And it's almost like, I wish, and I don't know if you heard this before, to really wrap it up, I wish you pain in your life. I wish that you go through situations that humbled you, because those are sort of the moments that really challenge you and demonstrate how you can then overcome.
Absolutely. I always say,
I see that in almost everybody.
Discomfort is our wake-up call to pioneer.
There you go. So guys, there you have it. Gaby Natale here in Dimensional. I'm sure you got a lot of value from it. Make sure that you follow Gaby. You'll get the link to follow her, and don't forget to share. Okay, Gaby. Once again, thank you so much.
Gracias de corazón.
Gracias
thank
a
you so
ti.
much.